Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Keys of the Castle podcasts. Today, we're going to go ahead and continue with the This or That Roulette, the Disneyland ride This or That Roulette, Would You Rather? So, last time we left off at the Tiana's versus Jungle Cruise matchup. We've also done the Carousel versus Thunder Mountain, Matterhorn versus Alice in Wonderland, and the Gadgets Go Coaster versus Astro Orbiter. I think I'm getting all those names right, but you'll get what I mean, if not the official names. So today I'm going to go ahead and pick up with a different matchup. I believe that Tiana's versus Jungle Cruise was finished. I don't remember where we left off, but I'll just go ahead and leave that one as is because there are tons more to get to, assuming that this will just continue on and keep on going. So we'll keep rocking here. I have a typo here, so this is going to be the Yeah Cups. Actually, it's going to be the Teacups versus Casey Jr. So I've actually not been on Casey Jr. for a really, really long time. I think potentially I've only been on it once. I think actually, I think I've only been on it like once. And then the Teacups, that ride has changed over the years, I know, as well as my relationship to it. So, that's a funny old matchup. It's a tough choice. I'm not sure which one of the two rides would be considered more of a classic ride, more of a classic Disney ride, because that's always on the forefront of my mind when thinking about these matchups of like which ride would I rather choose. I always think about like which one. The first thing that always comes to my mind is thinking about which one is the more classic Disneyland ride. So I am assuming the Teacups came first, and I would say that is probably the more classic Disneyland ride of the two. But I don't know. So anyway, I'll keep doing the matchups similar to the way it's been going. So if I had to choose to get rid of one forever and ever and just keep one, that's a tough one. So I think the interesting thing is that the Teacups are more classic to my life personally. And I feel like, I don't know, even though I can be like very, very disagreeable most of the time, I feel like so many people just love the Teacups and just visually what it does to the atmosphere and that portion of Fantasyland. Like I just can't imagine it not there. That's not a very good reason potentially, but that's just where my head goes with that. So I would probably choose, I suppose, to get rid of Casey Jr. because I think you can probably like replace that with something a little better. The Teacups just feel classic to a certain extent, and everybody knows the Teacups. Like Disney person or not Disney person, like everybody has heard of the Teacups and knows the Teacups. Like if you mention or talked about Casey Jr., like most people who are not Disney lovers would not know what you're talking about. Although now that I think about it, I'm forgetting that I think the Casey Jr. is, or whatever it's called, I don't know the full name of it, but the Casey Jr. Railroad or Casey Jr. train or whatever it is I think meant to be the reference to Dumbo, right? Is that right? Which makes me like that even more. Makes me like it even more. But yeah, I don't know. So if I had to choose one to go away forever, I think it would be, I suppose, Casey Jr. I don't know. That's a tough one. I would say it would be Casey Jr. for the sake of just like the atmosphere and just, I don't know, just purely out of the precedence of what the teacups bring. Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Maybe is that the official name? I'm not sure, but I don't know. Just the teacups. Yeah, I feel like those should stay. If I were put on the spot and I had to choose one to keep and one to go, I would choose the teacups to stay, and Casey Jr. to go. That being said, on the other hand, though, if I were just choosing for, I don't know, like selfish reasons or personal reasons for, like, let's just go to the next, like, scenario. So if I were just to have to choose one for a day, and like I were visiting the park just once a year, which is actually my reality at the moment, I would definitely go with the Casey Jr. Railroad. I'd go with Casey Jr. because, like I said, I don't even remember being on that ride. It does make me a little claustrophobic thinking about it, just because of how small the space is inside of like the little carriages or whatever. But I just have no recollection of the ride, so I think it would be cool to ride that Casey Jr. thingy, railroad train thing, just because it would be like almost like riding a new ride at first. I don't know, maybe I would get like close to boarding and then like remember everything, or maybe it would all come back to me on the ride. I don't know, but that's my answer for that scenario if I had to choose for a day to go on one. I will say, with like I know that there have been changes to the teacups, and so it used to be a lot of fun. I would get on that ride with friends and we would just go nuts and spin it as fast as we can, and of course we did get pretty dizzy. The thing is though, is like they put, of course, like a limiter, like a damper on it so that you can't go too fast. I feel like they should change that. I don't know. I mean, I kind of do get it because kids do go on that ride. Babies potentially get on that ride. So I do understand having the limiter, because I was going to say, like, well, maybe you should, section some off and have some that are like higher speed and then some that are like lower speed, or like, slow, medium, fast, or something like that. But there's always going to be people who they didn't realize, or even if you ask them, like they thought it would be fine and then the kid's not fine or whatever. So I do get that. I think what would actually be really, really cool would be to like, I mean, it can't be that secret because obviously things get out, but I think it would be really cool to just have like just a couple teacups, like one or two that are like really fast, like have no limiter on them. Or, what if they had just like teacups that are just like all different speeds, like at random. So like just all over the spectrum, like, each different teacup. I don't know how many there are. I'm assuming there's like maybe 10 or 15 or something, but it would be cool if like all of them were just completely different speeds and had different like top limits of spinach, spin speed. I think that would be the coolest scenario, but I think, realistically, maybe that wouldn't go too well. So I think that would be really cool, because I think the thing is I was talking to a friend about it recently, and I think the thing is with the teacups is I think what makes me more sick with getting on that and just trying to go as fast as possible, it's actually more so the combination of the strength that you're using to like try to go faster. At least that's how like we go hard. If I'm gonna go on that with someone and we're like, yeah, let's just go as fast as possible, like we're gonna go hard, like we're gonna use all of our strength. So honestly, it's more so the spinning mixed with the physical exertion and exhaustion. I think that's actually what makes me more sick, which is just, that is kind of, I suppose, annoying and irritating for me. Like, I actually wouldn't mind spinning so fast to where it like messes with me and I feel a little sick. That would be kind of fun for me. But if it's because of like physical exertion where it's like you're spinning plus there's like that weird, it makes you feel sick in a different way on a different level for me personally. And that's why I broke up with the teacups. No pun intended of glass breaking, but, I think that's the main reason why I don't really get on that ride anymore. It's like, it's no fun. Like, I'd rather just get on for the sake of getting on and not even spin at all. Like, just not even touch the center wheel thingy. But that being said, yeah, if that were the case, if you can, like, select a teacup at random and some of them are different speeds, I would find out which one that would at least get me on the ride. Is I would go online and find out, which one has the top speed, and I would try to choose that one while going on the ride, and that would have me get on that ride. Or if they just had no limiters or just a higher limit of speed, of spin speed on all of the teacups, I would definitely, probably prefer that ride. But in this scenario, it's gonna be a good old Casey Jr. boy, or girl, I suppose, whatever it is. So yeah, I'd rather ride on that ride, Casey Jr. That would be pretty exciting. I think also, the kids would be, probably and maybe and potentially enjoy that ride a bit more. Again, it does make me a little claustrophobic and feel a little trapped just with how tiny and crunched up it looks. But either way, that's that matchup. Maybe we'll go on another matchup. So this is going to be, let's see, what are we going to do here? Dang, so this is an epic one. This next matchup is actually a pretty darn epic one, so I don't know if I should get into it. I'm just trying to think if there's any last thoughts on Casey Jr. versus the teacups. I would, again, just reiterate, that I love Dumbo, and the fact that that's a reference to that ride makes me want to keep it. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. So the next matchup, maybe this will at least be I suppose announcement or just like a teaser for the next matchup, and maybe I'll go into it a little bit and I'll just start processing it because I have no idea what I would choose for this. But the next matchup is Peter Pan versus Pirates of the Caribbean. Would you rather Disneyland ride roulette, this or that? Wow, what a crazy matchup. And these were completely selected at random, unplanned. I did not create that matchup. That is such a crazy matchup and so cool and so fun to talk about and think about, and also very difficult. Like, if you had to get rid of one or the other, Pirates of the Caribbean or Peter Pan forever, which one would it be? I think I know the answer that most people would choose. But for me, that is just a tough one, and I think that I'll leave that as a cliffhanger for the next episode, because I'm going to have a lot to say, especially about Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm going to have to be careful with what I say, because, this podcast, I'm wanting to keep it more so just neutral-ish, upbeat, more so positive. So I don't want it to be like all crazy or negative or anything like that. But just as a little teaser, I will say that I really, really, really did love and do love the original version of Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, not even just opening day attraction, not even just how it was back then, but even like growing up in the 90s. Like, yeah, it's just, I'll just leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it as a teaser. But Peter Pan, okay, I'll say the full name, Peter Pan's Flight versus Pirates of the Caribbean. I already said this on one of the other episodes, but I don't like calling the rides by their full names. I literally just call Peter Pan's flight Peter Pan. I literally cringe and die inside every time I say Peter Pan's flight, so I just hate it. And Pirates of the Caribbean, like, that's just a classic name, so I don't mind, but a lot of times I'll just say Pirates. I mean, like, that's just, I don't know, it just makes sense to me. And people I grew up with in California, like, I don't think I've ever had anyone ever comment on just calling the ride Pirates or just calling the ride Peter Pan. But that's just me. And also, I was trying to do some research while I'm on this subject, and I'll close up the episode here and leave this cliffhanger for the next episode. But while I'm on this subject, I was trying to do some research on Peter Pan and on the name of that ride. And I was trying to find out if the opening day attraction was in fact called Peter Pan's Flight, or if it was just called Peter Pan, because I know for a fact, actually, that when the ride opened up, on the outside of the ride, I think it just said Peter Pan. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if that's how it is now. It might be like that today in Disneyland. I'm not too sure, so I'll have to double check on that as well. But definitely on opening day in the early years when the ride first opened, and in Disneyland's early years, definitely the ride just said Peter Pan. So I don't know if that's what, like, you know, the Imagineers referred to it as, or if it was always called Peter Pan's Flight. I'm going to say it was, because I know that, actually I was watching a video on this, and I know that when the Peter Pan ride first opened, there was actually no Peter Pan character to be found on the ride, which of course is kind of ironic, right? But the reason is because the audience and the guests riding the attraction were meant to be the Peter Pan. So if that makes sense, so you were meant to be Peter Pan flying around as you were the one riding the attraction. So I don't know if that was just a logistical thing, like, oh, we're just going to have to make this work because, you know, we don't have the resources or whatever, time or whatever, money, whatever it is to, you know, put a Peter Pan on there. I don't know. Or if that was just like something that they thought would be cool and interesting. But either way, I'm guessing that actually, now that I think about it, that does make me think that the original ride was called Peter Pan's Flight. And that, you know, it just said outside of the ride, just Peter Pan. But I like calling the ride, if I haven't made it clear enough yet, I like calling the ride just simply Peter Pan. And yeah, the fact that people call it Peter Pan's Flight, and that's what it's still called, I feel like it's even less relevant now. I feel like that original ride in the opening years, having not shown Peter Pan on the ride as like a character or having any pictures of him or animatronics or anything, I feel like then the opening, I feel like it stands to reason then that the opening attraction would make more sense to be called Peter Pan's Flight, because that's what the ride is like, it's meant to be an emulation of Peter Pan's Flight, as in like you are Peter Pan. Maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking this, because, you know, I suppose you could be flying with Peter Pan, so it's still Peter Pan's Flight. I don't know. To me, it makes more sense to just drop the flight and the S of that title and just call it Peter Pan. But that's just me. I don't know why I'm so passionate about this, but I will, you know, stop my rambling. I'll just say it one more time, just because I'm bitter about it, that I did see one video that like kind of pointed out that the opening day attraction of Peter Pan just said Peter Pan on the front, and they were like, oh, that's weird, like poking fun, like haha, like it's so weird and ridiculous that, you know, for some reason Peter Pan's Flight just said Peter Pan out front. I don't know. See, the thing is, just while I'm on this rant, there's so many times that I see Disney content that kind of points out things that like don't make any sense when it comes to Disneyland, but I just feel like that's part of the creativity. Like that's part of why we all love going on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and going to hell, because it doesn't make sense and we just love it. The same thing with Pirates of the Caribbean. Like it kind of doesn't make sense in a way that I mean, I know that there's like somewhat like there is a, you know, official or canonical theory about why there's, you know, the setting that it starts off in the bayou in Pirates of the Caribbean, and the guy out front on the porch, you know, he's not a pirate at all. So yeah, like I don't know that, like you can say that doesn't make sense because it's a pirate ride. But I don't know. There's so many things that they don't make sense. But that's just what creativity is. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. It's just kind of randomness. It is the abstract, and that's what to me has made Disney the most iconic. Is just things that don't make sense. I mean, the Haunted Mansion. The fact that there's a Haunted Mansion in the happiest place on earth, that makes no sense. But yet. Yeah, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'll stop rambling. And this has been another episode of This or That Disneyland Ride Roulette Would You Rather. And I'll wrap it up here. So next time, it's going to be Peter Pan versus Pirates. So let's get it. Thanks for listening, and take care.